All right, folks, we're back. Thanks for watching that break. As you can hear, though, the beeps have already begun because we are in the lobby, we're in the game, and we're getting into ByuN versus Dark. Real quick, though, we do have quite a round of shoutouts to get through, so I'm going to do these about as quick as I can. Thank you to Wonderful Guy. He shared 100 bits 20 minutes ago. Says, clear your mother fucking schedules for ZvT 2017. Agnoster was a brand new sub. Homer T. Bush was a brand new sub. Dehumanizer 187 hits up with an 11-month resub. Says, I see legends everywhere. Drunken Master for the 24-month resub. McCanny's got this. Go full NA. Kawaiian for the 27-month shout out. Says, Co-op God. Played co-op with Kawaiian a couple weeks ago. It's pretty good times. Vivek, Area 52. Thank you for the 5-month return. Woo, 5-month hype. Olimoleague, 27 months. And then Tom KD for the 3 months just now. Thank you so much for your support, guys. But with that mouthful out of the way, we have a fantastic series ahead of us. It's a shame that it's only a best of 3 and not a best of 5. I'm Rifkin, joined tonight by Zeph. You're watching the Olimoleague. And in the top left side of the map, we've got none other than the Purple Zerg, Dark.
And in the bottom right, the Red Terran, a god. It's ByuN.
Now, I mentioned ByuN's stream a little bit earlier. Dark, of course, has been streaming. So always like innovation, everyone else. But what was really interesting is just how often these two hit each other. A lot of these guys have an MMR so high they can only really find like 3 or 4 other players. And Dark playing his off race, Dark playing his main race. You've seen these two fight each other many times over the past several weeks if you've been watching streams. But if you haven't, hey, that's what the Olimoleague's for. We got you with this tournament gameplay. And ByuN is, he's not pulling any punches, he's going ham on this one.
Yeah, I can't really blame him either. We've seen a decent chunk of this happening in a lot of the Korean games. I mean, in all games, really, but recently we've been watching a lot of Korean players, and this is definitely a favorite strategy for a good reason, too. It's very hard to stop. So we'll see how we go here as ByuN whips this out in the first match. This actually sucks. I hope it's not too quick of a game.
It might not be. And he's not doing 3 Rax Reaper at all. I just assumed with the opening, but without that second gas and without that third barracks... Oh, there we go. Never mind. I guess
yeah.
Does it in a slightly stranger order. I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to fully wall this off, because it is just like the most solid wall of all time, but... Okay, a little bit awkward, whatever. Because he is doing the 3 Rax Reaper.
Yeah, he sure is. And ByuN, I mean, Dark better get ready for it, because it's not easy to stop. We'll see how much ByuN actually commits to it, though. He may pull out after maybe like 3 rounds of Reapers.
Well, so what's happening for Dark was with his pool opening like this, he sends 2 lings around the long way of the map. He wants to get in here and kill the SCV building the command center, but that Overlord unfortunately scouts and reveals, oh, there is no command center, and in fact, barracks at the front line. So now fully aware of what's going on. What's even worse is he's got those lings out of position and not ready to fight at home, not ready to soak those hits. A spine crawler comes down in a spot that covers the ledge. Kind of interesting, a bit peculiar, but we'll see if it's good enough to keep Dark alive. The Koreans have been handling their Reaper openings very different than the foreigners, kind of getting very strict and stopping early with the Reapers and not going beyond 9 most of the time. So we are going to keep an eye on that production tab and see when ByuN throws down his 3rd CC, or if he is going to dedicate and go super all in.
I would kind of expect ByuN to back off after that many, because with the defense that Dark's setting up anyway, it's going to be really hard to commit past that. He's already covering his other ledge because he knows that's a pain in the backside to defend against. With 3 queens on the front lines plus speedlings out already, it's going to be pretty tricky to get up there unless Dark makes missteps. So already Dark is doing a great job defending here.
I love the spine crawler on the ledge. Can actually reach far enough down to hit the Reapers early. So there's only one way for them here, and it's up that ramp. With speedlings and queens already out of plenty, it's not going to work. And for ByuN, one of the worst parts about this is he hasn't been able to pick off too many creep tumors. And frankly, it's killing the tumors that's been killing the Zerg in a lot of these situations. So kind of slowing down with the Reapers keeps most of them actually that are being produced now at home and only fighting on the front lines with this handful. He's still producing, which I think is really interesting. So going as high as 12.
Yeah.
But 3rd CC does finally start up in the main. So I don't think he'll be dedicating to this for too much longer.
No, I did kind of expect him to make a lot less Reapers in this, but I guess that he still has them, and he can still use them around the map. Deny creep tumors like you were talking about. He can use it to pick off the lings that Dark has made, because Dark can try and use those to deny a really early 3rd or a couple of units here and there. And he will be trying to snipe any Reapers that he can get a hold of. But for now, he's just kind of scouting around the map, making use of that speed. He does find the Reapers does have to back out, though, because there is enough for that to be a danger to that number of Lings on the floor. He's going to come poke up to the natural, and ByuN doesn't actually have any Reapers at home right now.
Yeah, reactors are a little bit awkward. This is something where if Dark was really desperate, we'd have seen a Banling nest down, he would have tried to go for a bust, and it would have actually broken the wall. But there was no desperation. He held off the Reapers really well, and as they all consolidate now, the Lings are on the wrong side of the map, and all of those Reapers, 11 of them here versus these Queens. It's a lot of grenades that are going to be coming down. It's a lot of Queens that are going to go flying off of Creep, as we can see. He's a little bit tentative to get stuck up there on the high ground. He doesn't want to get caught in a bad corner, so he just kites around to the side. ByuN's control here, absolutely fantastic. Queen's too slow to chase him off of Creep correctly. Eats one of his own grenades. Ugh.
It's a little tricky to micro. This has actually gotten stuck against a wall, and this is going to make him lose a lot of Reapers here. The Queen's slowly trying to catch up to them. I can't believe he got out with that many just now, but they're still alive. They're still doing damage, still taking out Lings.
Cannot jump up there. Gotta be careful. ByuN, I think, is finally going to lose these Reapers, but
yeah,
he did force out a lot more Lings with this. Queens went on quite the journey, so there weren't really a lot of injects going on. Finally, this was extra Queens on the macro hatchery coming down with that third. I mean, I don't feel like ByuN did a lot of damage like we're used to watching Terran players do, but look at the drone count right now. There was so much invested in Spying Crawler, in building Lings, more money into Queens. I don't know what they're saying right now, but the thing is, like, ByuN did a lot of indirect damage, so it still kind of worked out for him.
Yeah, he lost close to 50 Lings there. Unfortunately, all the Reapers are gone as well. So in terms of resources, I think ByuN actually loses out ever so slightly there. But it is time away from droning and whatnot. I mean, we're 6.5 minutes in game and we've only hit 44 drones. That's actually even with the Terran, because ByuN's had that third CC churning away for quite some time now. His extra production's coming up. Stim is about to finish and 1-1 is on the way. So he's sitting pretty. He's pretty comfortable with where he's at right now. It's just, I guess, for the moment, he has to wait until he moves out with these Marines, because he doesn't really have any map control at the moment. No speedy map control that we'd be used to seeing. So this creep is going to get super out of hand, super fast, and he's going to have to wait for those medevacs to put any further pressure on Dark.
So I do want to talk a little bit about the gravitas of what this matchup is, by the way. You know, you've got BlizzCon Championship Finals rematches, however you want to phrase it, but most of the time in StarCraft 2, I think we see a lot of guys go so many different directions. You rarely see a lot of rematches because everybody's still kind of evenly scattered. Like, because somebody wins a tournament doesn't necessarily mean they're the best. They're just the best at that time. But ByuN and Dark have really truly proven to be above and beyond the rest of the players out there. So it's cool to see them fighting each other in this small little tournament. But it really goes back to, again, like, you can tell with the friendly little chat we had in game just a moment ago, they've played each other a lot. They know what's going on, and like the fact that they know each other so well, so it makes it so interesting. Like, I really think ByuN's Reapers kill a lot of other players. In a lot of other instances, Dark probably crushes Reaper pushes and openings out of others. Very just refined gameplay from these two constantly fighting at the top of the level, at the top of the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've got to kind of do these things as well when you're playing against someone you've played 100 times before. Like, what can you do that's new and interesting, going to throw them off balance at this stage? So it really is a true test of your skill as a player. And this is really cool for ByuN, heading in with a double drop into the main, at the same time denying the fourth on the right-hand side of the map. The drop doesn't do anything, but at least on the right-hand side, he is gaining some ground, clearing up some creep.
Ooh.
And let's see if we can do anything further.
Just in time to watch that medevac get picked off. Yeah, canceling the base, a lot of creep tumors dead. Those are all great things for ByuN, but without combat shields, it's really hard for him to stay and fight. He knows this too, so that's why he's backing away from this. Queen's gonna be putting those tumors down once again. ByuN leaves one Marine behind to scout on everything too. Speed finishes up in a moment. Dark's gonna have that extra 5 health in those banelings, so make them a little bit tougher, but the speed, of course, makes them much faster.
Yeah, that time he got that Bane speed in there. And ByuN is rallying up for his next push. He's starting to mix in a few more mines as well. This is going to time out nicely for Dark to actually have muters, but one of the downsides of that is when you've just spent all your money on muters, you have a little less for your ground force when a push is coming at you. Now, that said, he does already have quite a number of Lings and a few banelings out. Might need just a second to get a few more, though, before he tries to tackle this, because ByuN already pre-splitting and getting ready to push deep into that Zerg territory.
Yeah, the mutas coming out are going to be really nice if the units are a little too split, however, but Not the case yet. ByuN consolidates quickly, backs away after cleaning up all that creep. Real quick, real nice. Two Marines over here aren't going to get much done. Feels bad, man. Consolidation of forces, too. No rally through the middle of the map. Nothing for Dark to really pick off. ByuN has a lot of Widow Mines, a lot of Marines, but they're coming out in chunks, and I like this because it keeps them safer, and if they do get caught, they'll at least fight better for it.
Yeah, it's really cool to see him doing that, actually, because a lot of Zergs rely on that sort of counterattack style to gain some ground against the Terran, and look at that, he just mows down so many Lings when Dark is only really just peeking over the edge to see where the army's at. Yeah. Another fourth base is going down on the left-hand side, so let's see if that one gets up. But so far, ByuN is doing a pretty good job at establishing himself a position to sit at the top of this ramp here, cleaning up the creep over and over, pre-splitting behind it. I guess the left-hand side is about the only place he doesn't have any presence at the moment, so I think that's a really good move for Dark to be expanding in that direction instead.
You know, I really love the control and the care out of both players for this. There's a lot of situations where Dark probably wanted to just pounce on ByuN and say quit pushing, but he knew better than to do that. He knew he was at a supply deficit. ByuN's grown to quite the army supply, but this is also a very important situation where it's all going to be on the front lines. Nothing's going to be produced, so there's not going to be a rally towards the main, and these mutas are going to kill one turret, no problem, two, not even finished, and there's not many Marines left to fight this. So ByuN's going to keep pushing. He's not going to come back to defend, and while he pushes, Dark goes around him. Possibly a bit of a base trade scenario opening up on our hands. Couple Banelings left at home, might be able to collide with those Marines, so back at home, the mutas have been chased off. Only 2 SCVs die.
Oh, man.
Hang on, this is a guacamole moment. Do you see what I see in Twitch chat, Zeph? Is that a rainbow Kriegasm coming down? Oh, baby!
Oh, it sure is. Oh my gosh. Absolute carnage on the ground there.
Yes, it was almost as beautiful as that Kriegasm. Alright, we got the Lings and the Banelings finally colliding on top of this. As they collect, ByuN doesn't lose all that much, though. Keep in mind that as devastating as this might look at a glance, his army supply still vastly outnumbers that of Dark.
Yeah, he's looking real good. His ability to handle anything that Dark's trying to sneak around the sides of the map as well has been really good. Oh my god, beautiful.
This is cool. I like the burrowed Lings here on top of this. You know, ByuN's not going to be scanning after getting hit like that, so these Lings will give him vision that he wouldn't otherwise have.
Yeah.
Whether on purpose or by accident, fantastic moves.
This hatchery's in so much danger though, and Dark really can't afford to be down on 3 hatcheries at this stage in the game, so Dark is going to fight tooth and nail to keep us going for another counterattack at the same time. But look at that wall, he just can't get through. Banelings are coming down, but they're getting shredded before they even get close to the Marines. Same with the mutas,
unfortunately.
Yeah, this fourth base does go down. Beautiful snipe once again from ByuN. His positioning is just, delicious.
Well, while this goes on in the top right, we do have the hatchery actually finish up, so Dark's got somewhere to transfer the drones to at least. I will say, this again has been astounding how this has been going. Dark looking like he's just been getting beaten to a pulp, but he's actually been taking pretty decent trades. Resources lost still favors ByuN. Army supply still favors ByuN. I think any other Zerg player in the world is already dead at this point.
True. It's still a sticky situation for Dark, though. He's down in supply. He hasn't got his fourth base running. It's only just now getting reestablished in the top right-hand corner, really far away. And ByuN is getting towards that 3-3. The +3 attack is just finishing up now. +3 armor. Oh no, that base gets discovered. Oh, Dark.
Well, while this goes on, Dark's going to try and get a bit of his own revenge. Unfortunately, though, eating a lot of damage from this planetary. It's going to go down. Nice surround, but it loses like 40 army supply to kill the base. Unfortunately, ByuN doesn't lose anything killing this one. And that really hurts. At least he gets 14 workers out of that, and he's going ahead into the natural with the mutas again, but all these mines and a few reinforcing Marines from ByuN make it really hard for him to actually commit to anything there. He's actually going to try and run up towards this corner, see if he can catch anything out of ByuN's, I guess. A few more burrowed Banes would actually be really nice if you could get those happening. But he's going to start really hurting in a second. I mean, already on the mineral front, he's not doing so crash hot. He's got plenty of gas. So he does start putting some Banelings down. I think this is going to be really important because this is an area of the map that has no creep. So there's no real reason for ByuN to be scanning while moving unless he's incredibly paranoid. But while this goes on, the muta count was killed, I think, was it like 12 earlier? 16 in total now, so he just doesn't have that many mutas left over. If Dark was sitting on a number of 20 or more mutas, I think his harass is strong enough to keep ByuN at home for quite some time. But the odd thing
Yeah.
is, that planetary going down may have hurt ByuN a little bit more than we realized. Like, okay, he's maxed out and he looks better in many, many regards, but he did have to float his main over. He wasn't able to place a new command center down.
Yeah, true. I didn't really consider that until you mentioned it just now, because it is 15 minutes in the game. They are starting to mine out those first couple of bases. That's why the extra bases are so important right now. So that was definitely a good blow for Dark to have dealt ByuN, and he's going to try and come in again while half the army's actually out of position. Does he have enough to crush through this? The stutter step from ByuN is just beautiful. All those banelings are pretty much unsuccessful at getting any good hits, and only mutas remain. Can he hold off this push from ByuN? Oh, decent last-minute baneling hit there.
The Widow Mines got such good hits on those links, and as you guys may have noticed, very little friendly fire actually went down through it. So all these medevacs still going strong. ByuN's army supply now, that doubling of Darks, and I gotta say, for game number 1, I hope this series goes all 3 games. This was like the best game number 1.
Oh, for sure. This could have been the finals, and it's only like the second round of the tournament so far. Queen's forced to fight on the front lines here, and Dark knows it's over. GG. ByuN takes the first game.
All right, nicely done. Gotta give a big, massive thank you to Prognosticator for those 10,000 bits. The Rainbow Kriegerism says, Happy New Year's. Here's to 2017 being the best one yet for base trade. Whee! Oh, the esports. My bad. Wii Sports. Oh, I see. It got cut off at the end. Nice. Thank you very much for those bits, man. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. We're going to get into game number 2, of course, in a moment. I believe it's Dark's pick after loser's situation. McCanning just hosted us for 300 viewers as well, so shout out to McCanning. If you guys didn't see, he was trying to compete in the tournament. I don't have the brackets open right now. Let's see where he actually got. Oh, I lost to Jakshi. Jakshi's a pretty good player, though. There's no shame in losing to Jakshi. But what I got to give him some mad respect for was the fact that he came out to play in the Olimoleague. Before Neeb won in Olimoleague, Nathanius actually had the record for like 11 months of like the deepest run into the Olimoleague by any foreigner.
Really?
Oh, wrong lobby. We'll leave that. So yeah, it's really cool. Like whether it's McCanning or Scarlet or whatever caliber or tier of players you guys are fans of, I'm always like 2 thumbs up for foreigners giving this a shot. So I hope he gives it a shot again in the future. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Everyone likes to see foreigners versus Koreans anyway, so it'd be cool to get more of them getting involved. We actually had in Still Making Korea Great, we had a few foreigners in there. Unfortunately, I didn't get too deep with the stacked bracket, but you know, they're showing up at least.
I like this. By the way, he said Josh, got really lucky. You know, he probably did. I've seen McCanning stream. I know what's up. Josh, got really lucky. All right, game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Spawning in the bottom left of the map, we do have the purple Zerg player Dark, currently down 1, and on his last life in this single elimination tournament.
And in the bottom right is Red Terran, known as ByuN.
All right, something really quick to address, because I've seen this brought up in chat a couple of times now. People asking, like, you know, will BaseTradeTV keep casting this? What's going on? 2017? Question marks, question marks. And I guess we never really did have a sit down and discuss things. I tried to put out some quote-unquote patch notes for fun today. If you guys didn't see those on the BaseTrade Twitter, they're still posted there. And one of the things you guys saw was that Olivia Olimoleague doesn't have time to dedicate to BaseTradeTV like she used to in the past. So she's really focusing down on her own projects, and the Olimoleague being one of them. So this is a tournament that, you know, we helped cast right from the get-go, but it's always been Olivia's thing. She's worked hard on it. She got the Twitch. She was the one who got the Twitch sponsorship for it to get that live in Busan and all those crazy good things, guys. So this is her baby, and not at all dependent upon BaseTradeTV. That being said, I'm very glad and more than grateful to be given the opportunity to cast this. So at the moment, the plans are for us to keep casting this in 2017. But things may change. I can't say for certain. But I'm looking forward to more games and more Olimoleague, of course.
Good. Olimoleague is actually like the coolest tournament. This is like exactly what was missing for so long from the Korean scene, because it was always basically just GSL and stuff. You didn't get to see this many like sort of weekly and monthly type cups. So I'm loving it. I'm sure the viewers are too. So, by the way, thank you all for joining us for this Olimoleague. I know it's a weird time, so it always surprises me that so many viewers roll in.
Well, for me, I don't know about you because your time zone's Australia, but for those on the West Coast, I find 2 a.m., which was today's start time, so much easier. I don't know what it is. Like, mentally, I can just wake up for 2 a.m., no problem. 3 a.m. is just like a little bit too deep into the danger zone. So I like this. This is great for me. I'm really glad we got it this time.
Good. Works for me as well. It's like, what, 9 p.m.? No problem whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, thanks again to you for joining me, of course, helping fill in while ZombiGrub's not around. But ByuN going for a little bit more of a standard opening this time around. So we don't have the 3 barracks being put down, no naked guesses here in terms of spawn locations. He's going with this good old classic 2 medevac drop that he's made work for, let's be honest, his entire Legacy of the Void career.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of like one of 3 openers Terrans can do at the moment. Duck should be prepared for all this. He sees the Reaper duck in and out. But not the greatest map for a Reaper to try and be a pest here. And we can already see Duck making those extra queens. His creep spread start getting underway in not too long. Nice defensive position there. Speed about to kick in as well, so he can actually get rid of that Reaper if he wants. But yeah, it's kind of... This is purely me being selfish as well. It's kind of a shame that they're close spawns on this map because it generally means it's going to be a quicker game. I was really hoping for another long macro game from these guys.
It still may be. One of the things I've really liked about Whirlwind being brought back is that it has created these games where you have a lot of, the army passing each other rather than being forced to collide against one another. Dark also got a really nice early scout, so he knows where to put that 3rd base, whereas if he had put it here, he could be in a little bit more trouble. As the Lings get into the base, Reaper misses the grenade, but more than enough Marines to keep these Lings at bay, so this won't get too out of hand. ByuN almost like faking how little units he has, which is... I like that.
Yeah, it's one way to trick your opponent into overcommitting or something, and then you get yourself some extra freelings or something. But Dark, a little too smart for that. He's not getting baited. He just sits out the front now with what he's got left, and hopefully he can reposition those. Maybe at the watchtower, maybe at the 3rd as well, once ByuN starts to poke out a little bit, so that you can see the timing of any push, the timing of a 3rd being taken. Because that's really all he needs to know from here on out. He'll be pretty aware of any timings that ByuN can hit at the moment. The 2 medevacs for ByuN, the first couple, are about to pop out, so he should be pretty wary that it's about Marine drop o'clock.
I'm imagining one of those clocks where it's like beer clock all around the clock, like every hour. So that would be the ByuN clock, right? Now, kind of important, I thought if those Lings had actually taken the bait earlier and fought those Marines, ByuN would actually be missing a couple from this drop, but he comes across with 2 full medevacs, and Dark's got to do a little bit of guesswork. Lots of creep on the front lines, but not anything in position to stop this drop from landing in the main. This will fully unload in the corner too, so position going to be on his side as well.
Yes, indeed. No queens to preemptively start shelling away at those medevacs. The Marines stem straight into the mineral line. I meant to say
here.
Yeah,
this is really bad for Dark. This is like close to game over bad for Dark. The Lings do finally come out, but as we saw, ByuN pounds to these queens pretty damn quick. If he had taken care of all these before any Lings came in, this would have been no repercussions, but unfortunately, it's perhaps a little too far gone already. Not many Lings remain, and let's not forget, ByuN's going to have like round 3 of the medevacs coming out after this. A little bit of a rally, and this for such a normal, standard, and expected opening really caught Dark off guard.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. All these drones are going down the queens, doing some serious work on the medevacs, and that's fantastic, but the damage has already been done at this point. Incredible from ByuN. I mean, a bit of a shame he lost that medevac at the end there, but 11 workers killed. He lost how many queens? 6 queens? Oh my goodness. ByuN's got to be smiling to himself.
There's a bit of a trolley Reddit thread a few days ago that was along the lines of, if you're new to StarCraft, don't watch ByuN. And it kind of came down to, he'll set the standards too high, you'll never be that good, so don't watch him. You'll be discouraged. And it's kind of the case. Like, seriously, ByuN is so ridiculous and so fantastic at this game. He's going to get an Overlord in the middle of the map, too. Oh, not quite. Would have been nice to pick that off. But, of course, keeping the Marines alive to fight longer and further might be a better choice. Now, this 3rd medevac was actually a little bit late to the party because he was microing so hard in that mineral line. Oh, he does get an Overlord. Not this one, but another one. But this finally does come out of the map, and it's causing a little bit of havoc. Back at home, though, the rally's made. More Marines, more medevacs coming out. There's no Banelings to bust this wall. ByuN doesn't have any of his guard let down. All he's got to do is repair. He's good to go. He can just leave if he wants to, but he's going to stay at home and clean this up first.
Yeah, it's actually a little nice for Dark, I guess, because he sees that unknown, knows that another set of drops are coming along. This is just beautiful for ByuN because after having done so much damage, all he has to do from here is keep up the pressure, and he'll still do a lot of work because the Baneling Nest and Lair only just finished for Dark. He's not even researching that Baneling speed just yet. So while 2-2 is on the way, he's still not quite where he'd want to be at this point in the game. His third base is still not completely saturated. He's only just now starting to get on the gas there. And the third base is coming out for ByuN. He's ready to rock and roll with another maybe 3 medevacs worth of units. We'll see if he ends up trying like another multi-prong drop or something. But man, like it's just not a good start for Dark. But hopefully he can recover here.
I mean, the nice thing is, despite the damage he took, and despite the way this opened for him, he's still got the infestation pit coming down. He still has a pretty nice drone count. Picks off a medevac because ByuN wasn't paying attention for a moment, so it's going to cost him the Marines eventually. Transfuses go into this thing, but they're about out at this point. Chases it down. She was the only one with any battery power left. But yeah, Dark's sitting on 65 workers, 3 bases. That's not too bad. His army supply is starting to play the catch-up game. He's got that macro hatchery coming down. And on top of this, again, go back to the infestation pit, whether it's for fungal growths or whether it's for hive tech, either way, Dark is not that bad off for the way this opened.
Yeah, I mean, he's finally where he wants to be. The 2-2 is coming down, so he's going to be able to match ByuN with those upgrades. In fact, he might have his 2-2 just a tiny bit sooner. He's going to morph some more Banelings right now. It's a bit rough because they don't actually have speed just yet. Oh, that Widowmine hit. Widowmine best unit.
Who needs Banelings when your opponent has Widowmines?
Oh my goodness.
Now, in fairness, like I think as much friendly fire does happen and usually goes unseen, that one was particularly nasty and very noticeable.
Yeah, it definitely was. That's what happens when you get stuck too. Like when you get surrounded, nowhere for your Marines to run, and well, unfortunately, sometimes it rains Widowmine shots on you as well. I actually got a bunch of Lings moving around the north side, trying to maybe line up a counterattack in the near future. Creep spread's starting to look real good for Dark as well, and Bane speed about to finish up. We've got Infestors on the way. It's going to be a lot easier to defend once those are out.
By the way, we've been so focused on this game, I didn't take a peek to see who advanced on the other side of this. So, assuming we don't go to the top half of the bracket, the winner of this plays the winner of Classic versus ByuN. And I gotta say, ByuN's actually one of the most impressive looking Zerg players right now, in my opinion. So some really great games out of him. IM wasn't too bad either. I'm actually hoping we get like ByuN versus ByuN after this.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's gonna be a pretty good match. I mean, ByuN's always amazing, even when he's not like super in form and like the guy everyone's talking about. He's always a pleasure to watch. You're right. Oh, these Banelings.
Why did he never finish that depot? That's literally 21 out of 21 finish. Alright, this is going to be a bit of a pain as he does kite through the middle of the map. He's at least off of creep, so the Banelings aren't so bad. It leaves the Marauder behind to soak some of the hits. Took a bit of the bait. These depots are in fact burning. ByuN's not paying any attention back at home because he is so busy on the front line. And who can blame him? He's gaining a lot of ground, taking a lot of that creep back. But because he didn't repair the walls, now the base is compromised and Lings get in.
Dark finally catching a little bit of a break here, but does get cleaned up by the reinforcements. At the same time, ByuN continues to push forwards. A fungal goes off and delays a few of the Marines, but it's not a lot. Second fungal might make the difference here if we can get a good one. It's okay, but the trades aren't that cost efficient here, and there's not a lot of Lings left to clean this up either.
I'm really curious why Dark was even not burrowed with the Infestors. You can cast everything while burrowed now for those who haven't been keeping up with the patches of the game, and it would have been much safer, no risk. I do like the idea of fungals, but unfortunately it's not quite cutting when you have to overlap so deeply. You're using a lot of Lings, using a lot of Banelings, and then fungals on top of it. This base up here, the 4th, going to go down.
Wow.
That's Dark tapping out.
GG.
GG right, for that series.
Yeah, man, ByuN is just... it's a little too good.
He's absolutely looking fan-freaking-tastic, to say the least. But yeah, so this means we might stick around to see if ByuN versus Classic or ByuN versus ByuN. I do want to point out those guys, there are no bad matches for us to pick from above this. You got Solar versus Leenock, you got Bunny versus Joxy, Stats versus Super. In fact, it's all mirror matches in the top half of the bracket. But yeah, I mean, even Innovation's still going strong. I think we're going to have no problems picking a good next match. I'm going to say that we'll try and stick with ByuN, but if ByuN and Classic goes long, we'll find another match. Either way, we are going to pop off to a small commercial break, so do stick with us. Check out the brackets by typing !bracket in chat. I know Olimoleague's been coming and going in chat. If you guys have questions about the Olimoleague or the Patreon or any other ways to support it, by all means ask her in chat. She should be able to take your questions. But we'll be back in 2 minutes, so stick around. We'll see you soon.